want to talk a little bit about Manchester United. I did a piece up last week sort of comparing, it's a favorite theme of mine, that Erik ten Hag was hired because of what he achieved with Ajax 21-22.
Yeah.
Right? And you can see, I went through the transfers, and help me out here if I'm wrong on this, right? He tried to bring in players like the ones he had at Ajax, right? Lisandro is like Lisandro, and obviously Anthony is Anthony.
Yeah.
Eriksen's kind of like Davy Klaassen, a little bit, right? Yeah. Casemiro's kind of like Edson Alvarez, better Edson Alvarez. And then, obviously, he couldn't bring in a center forward because that fella Cristiano was there. When he did, he brought in, like...
Weghorst and Haller, you could say that even.
He's an off-brand Sebastian Haller, maybe, like...
a cheap version?
But you could see that. But then, ultimately, in the way they play, there's no comparison, right? They don't play anything like that Ajax team.
No.
And I got our colleague, Ryan Hanlon, to help me out on this, and... two very obvious things. Pressing, right? Yeah. Passes per defensive action. Ajax were by far number one.
In an easier league, though.
That's fine. But this tells you about how a team plays, right? Not how well they do it.
But it's easier to do in an easier league.
It's easier to press? No, you can press anywhere.
It's easier to have an efficient press against teams that are not very good than against teams that are...
The way PPDA is counted, like they count fouls and stuff in it. So it's not even necessarily like... in the Premier League, though, they're like 14th or 15th, right? Yeah. So clearly he abandoned that side of things. And look, I think you have very valid reasons to do it because it was important for him not just to instill his philosophy style of play, but to get results while doing it this year. So
sure.
I'm not criticizing
the two first games of the season,
But it does, and the other thing, when this ties into David de Gea, your favorite subject, goalkeeper, Ryan puts a lot of stock into goalkeeper kicking distance or whatever it's called, right? Which is basically from a goal kick, does the ball go long or does it go short? Yeah. With De Gea, it always goes long.
Yeah.
Last year, it always went short because they were trying to build up from the back, right? I think they ranked 15th or 16th by this metric. And this speaks to what we said about De Gea is not very good with his feet.
Not very good at all.
He wins those Golden Glove clean sheets thing, which people seem to think that clean sheets, look, he's got more clean sheets. I think clean sheets is a really stupid metric. Seriously, I think it's a really, frankly, irrelevant metric, relative to goals conceded or extra, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, and this was very evident in this game. And we were talking off air, and you pointed out De Gea's kicking it long, and who's he kicking it long to? You've got Rashford competing against Rodri and Stones. I mean, they have
Ruben Diaz,
4.5 center backs on the pitch.
Yeah, and we looked at the stats, and De Gea had 26 long kicks, twice more than Ortega, who had 13, for a 30% accuracy. So I think he made 8 out of 26. De Gea, a couple of them went to Rashford, I think, 2 to Bruno, and 2 were easy. The rest, I think, are easy to fullbacks because he can still, pass the ball at some point. But City were too happy. Every time they saw De Gea with the ball, they knew it was going to go long, and they knew they were going to win that ball. Maybe if not the first, but certainly the second ball, which they did every single time. And I just and you can tell me, but it's not easy for a keeper to kick the ball long. Okay, look at Ortega, 13 kicks, 9 successful, so that's a 70%. You go for 30% De Gea to 70% Ortega, and of course he's got Haaland to aim at, as we saw in the first goal. But Haaland, as we've mentioned many times, is not the best in the air. Definitely not. Certainly not.
He can chest the ball down. He can bring the ball down.
But
he can do
you
it.
Still have Varane and Lindelof behind you anyway. I just think that with De Gea...
The argument, though, is how do you want to die? Because if you pass it short, you're playing against the Man City press, and you're asking Varane, Wan-Bissaka, guys like that to play their way through the press, which is extremely difficult.
Exactly. I'm not really debating the tactics from Ten Hag.
You're saying he can't do it. He's screwed one way or the other.
Yeah, exactly. I think this is pretty much the only thing he could do, really, against a team like City. Maybe another opponent would have been different.
This is another different. At Ajax, he had, as fullbacks, he had Mazraoui, who's a midfielder, very good on the ball, and he had Daley Blind, who has a bazillion limitations, but is also good on the ball, right?
He's a baller, for sure.
That makes a huge difference.
Exactly. And I think that Shaw can play. Wan-Bissaka, obviously not so much. But
Shaw's the only one in the back four who can play. Yeah?
who can play like Ten Hag would want to play without Lisandro Martinez. Yeah, probably.
So then either you drop Eriksen to pick up the ball in front of the keeper. I mean,
of course, or Casemiro, which is not.
It's not a blame. It's more of an assessment of where United
exactly,
are right
and
now.
that's why I've been saying to you, Gab, and to everybody who wants to hear that they can't keep improving under Ten Hag with De Gea in goal. For me, it's as simple as that. You take away a lot of what makes Ten Hag's team special, or very good, or very efficient, and that would be the limit. This game. As good as United were, and they were good, they played well. I like the man marking of Fred on De Bruyne. Okay, it didn't always work, but I like the idea that you could go into man marking De Bruyne, man marking Gundogan, and man marking Rodri with Eriksen, Casemiro, and Fred. That's fine with me. I like the narrow Fernandes, Rashford, and Sancho. I like how narrow they were, no problem, because obviously with the back three of City, there's less width to have. So I like a lot of the things that Ten Hag tactically put together. I just think that the limitation of that team lies mostly on the lack of a proper centre forward for sure, and on De Gea.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.